So, a little while ago, I received a comment from a good friend of mine, and I don't know if you know me very well, but if you do, you know that I'm not super big into playing video games, but I love to create them. So, when I saw this comment on my music choice, I figured, hey, why not take a look? And oh boy, do I love this game. In the game development world, a phrase you might often hear is, there are 1,000 ways to code the same thing. And truth be told, I think that kind of applies to everything. There are 1,000 ways to approach pretty much anything you do. I'm pretty fortunate to be a part of a local group of game developers, and I was in conversation with some of them, and I said something along the lines of, I find it crazy how much time goes into world development. And I received a response that went something like this: if you allow your game to, anything can take over your project. In other words, if my game has a need for world building, then yeah, I could spend years on just developing the world. Same goes for mechanics or art or lighting or whatever. In another conversation, someone mentioned, whatever you're interested in, all of a sudden game dev can become entirely about that one avenue. So here's the big idea. Whatever you focus on will become your primary focus. And I know it sounds simple and stupid, but it took me a while to actually learn this lesson. The reason I loved Life is Strange so much is for the same reason I love all story mode games. Good art, lighting, sound, and the list goes on. But the more I play these games, the more I notice that they're not as technically complex as first-person shooter, let's say. The game devs obviously chose to focus on story, camera angles, voice acting, lighting work, all that sort of stuff. But you could have just as easily focused on complex networking or multiplayer systems or pathfinding algorithms or whatever. But at the end of the day, as an indie game developer, you have complete control over whatever your game is. So what do you want to make? What's your dream game? Maybe you don't have the skills to get there yet, but one step at a time. Focus on what you're good at and do it well. If it's art, maybe make a walking simulator or a photography game. If it's sound design, then focus on that. But don't try to make a game with procedural terrain generation and other complicated systems when all you know is pixel art. Or maybe video game development isn't necessarily your thing. What if you're writing a movie? Don't write a script with a boat in it if you don't have a boat. See what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying don't step out of your avenue and grow. I'm saying focus on what you're good at and pursue it. Don't let the other things distract you from what you're really good at and from what you really want to do. Because at the end of the day, whatever your passion project is, it's completely up to you. So have fun with it. Grow, continue to push, and you'll get there. The team behind Life is Strange knew what they wanted to focus on, found the right people, and they made something amazing. So what will you do? This week I've been focusing on what I love to do by working on my game development. And I've started to develop, from the first time ever, an actual story mode game. So the game is called The Last Hurrah, and I've spent some time developing the characters, the story, and some basic concept art. And I'm pretty excited about what's to come. I'm 1 week down with 3 weeks to go before I release the game for my June goal, and here's where we're at. So the game takes place in a 2.5D side perspective forest, where you and your friends have gone on a kayaking trip and are working down this White Rapids River with no other place to go because you can't go back upstream. When a helicopter crashes nearby, you guys have to figure out how to find the pilot and the passenger and get them to the next base camp safely with enduring the difficulties along the way. So I don't have much more to show you yet, but we've got some exciting things. I'm going to try voice acting, sound effects, lighting, all for the first time, and I'm super excited to produce that within the next upcoming weeks, and I'll show you guys more about it when it's to come. But remember, focus on you. For me, that's art. I'm focusing on art on this game, and the mechanics are going to be pretty simple, but I'm excited to see where it goes. But that's all from me, friends. I'm iChomo. Keep creating and enjoy the ride.
Singing to the things that help us breathe. And days in the sun, nights under the streets. And I'm singing to my brother, singing to the sea. See, I've been singing to my father.